Tezos is an open-source, decentralized blockchain project that aims to provide a platform for executing smart contracts. What's more, Tezos features a number of innovative solutions, such as its liquid proof-of-stake and on-chain governance. This video takes a closer look at all the specifics of Tezos, such as its native XTZ token, and much, much more. Keep on watching for the full breakdown of Tezos, the project's history, and 5 things to know before investing in the XTZ crypto. This video has been created for educational purposes only, therefore no financial advice is included. It's been clear that one of the most fundamental impacts of the crypto industry has been the emergence of decentralized applications, or dApps. In turn, an essential part of dApps are smart contracts. These are self-executing contracts that enable the development of innovative, powerful, and decentralized platforms. The dominant blockchain for dApp development and smart contracts is still Ethereum. However, even though Ethereum is the most popular development platform out there, it is far from the only decentralized platform for blockchains. There are several alternatives on the market, but an interesting one that we will explore further here today is Tezos. Tezos is an open-source platform for applications and assets that a worldwide community of developers, researchers, and validators are backing. According to Tezos, their platform addresses some of the critical issues that are of the utmost importance when it comes to blockchain adoption. This means that Tezos has a focus on long-term upgradability, smart contract safety, and open participation. The structure of Tezos is of a modular design. Along with this structure, the platform also has a formal upgrade mechanism. These 2 factors allow the platform users to decide on essential updates and implement them accordingly. This can enable the network to adopt new technological innovations as soon as they emerge. Furthermore, another essential component that allows the network to adapt for the long term is the Tezos on-chain invoicing mechanism. This allows a protocol to remain up to date even for a long-term perspective into the future, while still keeping community consensus. One of the things that Tezos is emphasizing on their website is the security of their smart contracts. The platform is designed to provide developers with contracts that are secure through code correctness. This means that the contracts on the platform are suitable for assets and high-value use cases. The contracts are written in the Michelson language, which facilitates what is known as formal verification. This is a form of methodology that is used in mission control environments such as nuclear and aerospace industries. This is something that demonstrates the importance of and security capabilities of their smart contracts. Another exciting aspect of Tezos is how the community decides on important decisions through its liquid delegated proof-of-stake system. All the stakeholders within the network can participate in the network's proposed upgrades. The stakeholders can propose, evaluate, and approve changes to the network. One way in which this differs from proof-of-work and other proof-of-stake POS networks is that all the stakeholders can help keep the system secure through baking or delegation. This is also a mechanism to allow the stakeholders to avoid being weakened by inflation in the network. Tezos was introduced back in 2014 in a white paper written by Arthur Breitman. Breitman was first to work on Tezos, but later on in the process introduced his wife Kathleen. Along with this, Breitman also involved Johan Gevers, who became the acting president of the Tezos Foundation. 3 years after the original launch of the Tezos white paper, Tezos held an ICO, or initial coin offering. For those unfamiliar, this is essentially the cryptocurrency equivalent to an initial public offering, or IPO. At the time, in 2017, it was an extremely successful ICO, and it raised an amount of $232 million. One of the main reasons for the success of Tezos ICO was that investor Tim Draper came out strongly in support of the project. As you may know, Draper is a successful vocal venture capitalist investor who wields significant influence. As such, the ICO was a notable success, but was quickly overshadowed by a related scandal. Although the ICO funds went to the Tezos Foundation, the actual source code for the Tezos project, the intellectual property, was owned by a company called Dynamic Ledger Solutions, which was controlled by the Breitmans. There was an understanding that the Tezos Foundation would go on to purchase Dynamic Ledger Solutions following the ICO. However, due to supposed miscommunication and speculations of a compromised relationship between the 2 parties, this ultimately did not happen. This led to a string of complicated lawsuits over mismanagement of funds and Gevers' exit from the company, who had to step down in the early months of 2018. Another lawsuit was also pressed against Tezos. That was only resolved 3 years later, in 2020. This lawsuit had troubled Tezos for some time, and once the lawsuit was settled last year, they announced that they could finally focus on improving the platform again. Tezos is oftentimes compared to Ethereum in that it is a decentralized blockchain platform that can be utilized for creating dApps. Tezos, however, unlike Ethereum, is using a proof-of-stake consensus mechanism, which means that miners don't need to exist. Another significant way in which Tezos is unique when comparing it to Ethereum is that it aims to be a more democratic platform. This is sometimes referred to as liquid democracy or liquid governance, and uses Tezos' liquid delegated proof-of-stake system. This means that all the stakeholders are part of deciding on the development of new functions and upgrades. This means that any user has the ability to provide suggestions for updates, which they themselves can submit and then add a price tag. The network then decides if the platform should adopt this update through a voting system. If the update is accepted by the network, the person introducing the change will receive a payment, matching the amount on the price tag. Due to this system, the platform won't need to undergo drastic and extensive updates, which could render applications unusable. This system can also help reduce the chance of any hard forks of the Tezos blockchain. Hard forks can, for example, occur when a company owning a blockchain is in disagreement. In Tezos' case, the decisions are completely up to the platform users, and these disagreements within the Tezos foundations will not have any effect. This is a process that they are calling self-amendment, and the main reason for this is that it is possible to update the blockchain more effectively without splitting the community. Furthermore, the self-amendment process in combination with the on-chain governance allows the bakers to vote on important matters. This will enable Tezos holders to affect the election process itself. This means that whenever someone discovers new governance mechanisms, it's possible to implement them retroactively. XTZ is the name of the cryptocurrency that underpins and powers the Tezos blockchain. The community also sometimes refers to this currency as Tez and Tezis. As I mentioned earlier, the system does not run on a POW consensus mechanism, but rather uses a delegated POS mechanism. This means that the process for creating new Tezis comes from staking tokens. The community calls this process baking, which can be contrasted with the more well-known crypto mining. If you're considering investing in Tezos, here are 5 things to consider. 1. It recently announced a deal to provide tokenized assets for 3 Swiss firms. At the end of August, Incor Bank, Enacta, and Crypto Finance Group announced they would use Tezos to develop DAR1 tokens. These new tokens will use smart contracts to comply with anti-money laundering rules and improve governance. Incor Bank also announced it would launch staking services for the Tezos network. This deal supports Tezos' argument that its smart contract language is especially well suited for financial agreements. It says its Michelson language ensures funds won't get lost or frozen due to bugs in the code. 2. It calls itself a self-amending blockchain. Tezos saying that it's a self-amending chain is one of the things that make it unique. Its blockchain is designed to evolve. The idea is that people who own Tezos can propose and vote on-chain to approve any changes, without the need for in-person discussions. Approved updates will then be implemented automatically. It's an unusual governance model that, in theory, reduces the likelihood of divisions within the community. In contrast, off-chain governance involves more discussion at conferences or via forums and mailing lists. Decision-making can become slower and more acrimonious. 3. XTZ has gained around 170% since the start of the year. Tezos posted strong gains this year, though the price has not grown as much as that of other major cryptocurrencies. For example, if you'd bought $100 worth of XTZ on January 1st, it would be worth about $270 today. If you instead bought $100 worth of Ethereum, it would now be worth about $520. Cryptocurrencies are extremely volatile investments that can see significant gains as well as considerable losses, and what can only be described as a roller coaster. If you are investing in the hope of another 170% gain in the short term, you may be disappointed. Instead, look at whether you think Tezos will perform well in the long term. As with any investment, it's important to take time to research the fundamentals and understand what problems it wants to solve. There are no guarantees, but this approach means that you could be more confident it will do well over time, and you won't have to worry as much about day-to-day price fluctuations. 4. It is trying to put its initial scandals behind it. I touched on the Tezos governance model, but I didn't mention the internal struggles that hampered its early development. After a hugely successful initial coin offering in 2017, an initial dispute between the coin's creators, Arthur and Kathleen Breitman, and the Tezos Foundation led to significant delays in the platform launch. The promised XTZ tokens took almost a year to materialize, prompting investors to take legal action, and it was only last year that the Tezos Foundation reached a $25 million settlement. $16.5 million of which went to investors who lost money. The settlement should mean that Tezos can finally draw a line under the scandal. The challenge is that while it was solving its internal issue, other cryptocurrencies like Cardano, Solana, and Polkadot were developing their technologies. A year is a very long time in crypto, and it also brings the token's on-chain governance model into question as the failure in Tezos' real-world governance had such big impact on the coin's development. 5. You can stake XTZ and earn interest. Tezos is listed on many of the top cryptocurrency exchanges. This means it's easy for US investors to buy and sell the token safely. In addition, investors can stake their tokens either through their exchange or their wallet, or directly with the Tezos network to earn interest. Unlike Bitcoin BTC, Tezos uses the more environmentally friendly proof-of-stake model to validate transactions and keep the network secure. If you stake your XTZ, you tie up your coins so they can power the network. According to Staking Rewards, a data provider, almost 77% of XTZ tokens were staked at the time of this writing, earning an average of 4.66 APR in rewards. The interesting thing about cryptocurrencies is that blockchain technology is evolving and there are many problems still to solve. Right now, a number of programmable blockchains are competing to take market share from the giant that is Ethereum. It was first to the market, but it struggles with network congestions and high fees. Tezos is certainly in the race, and its recently tokenized asset deal shows its technology has real-world uses, but so far, its price hasn't had the same jumps as its competitors. That increase may still come, but there is also a chance investors won't be able to forget about its initial problems.